before the hopefully ads end. So, all right. Hello, guys. We're back. Thank you guys for sticking around. The guys that stuck around. Today we're going to be talking about some Final Fantasy VII fan theories with the new hype of the FF7 HD remake coming out. There's been a lot of people replaying the game, and a lot of people that don't really know a lot of the cool little theories that are out there. So I have Pleasant Dreams with me, who wants to share his theory, and I haven't heard it yet, so you guys are going to get to see my live reaction for it, and I'm going to get to see what he says. So first, just an introduction. I am Camel Cash Level 7. I do stream some retro games. I recently beat Final Fantasy VII, and I read a lot more into the text than I would have, simply because Pleasant Dreams told me to read very, very deep into the text, so I did. And then we have Pleasant Dreams with me. He does have his own YouTube channel, and you guys can see that right on my screen, which is youtube.com/user/RNOWICI88. So this video will be posted there. And yeah, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is I'm going to give my side of my fan theory of what I think the whole FF7 has and the whole underlining of the story and how it basically works out. But after that, Pleasant Dreams is probably just going to destroy my theory, and we'll just basically have to see how it works out. We'll see if I'm right, he's wrong. We'll see what you guys think. So basically, I'm going to talk, Dreams is going to talk, then we will be taking some of your guys' questions. I will be jotting them down as we go. So in case you guys feel like there was a loophole in mine or a loophole in his, some of them we'll have answers for, some of them we probably won't have answers for, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah. So first, I'm going to go over my theory. As I was playing the game, I took notice to a lot of things. One of the things that I really took notice to was people constantly saying that Sephiroth was dead. So people kept saying that he was dead. And then at one point in the game, on I still believe disc 1, when you first time going to the crater, when you give Barrett give him the black materia, and this is when Tifa's forced to be in your party, and you're in that inside the area core place. And then you cut over to Hojo, Rufus, and Scarlet, and they're all inside that cave. And Sephiroth was in that bubble, basically regenerating. And then you see that Sephiroth's been there basically the whole fucking time. So then that comes into the question, how did everyone see Sephiroth and all this shit? So then one thing that I thought back to, and I was watching I was going through some other people's Let's Plays so I can go back and basically check out some of their footage on it. And there's one point where they're in the Shinra mansion. This is really early in the game when Aerith gets captured, Tifa, Barrett, and Red 13 and Cloud are all there. And there's one point in the game where there's a huge blood trail that you're supposed to follow, and the blood trail goes right to Cloud's door in the prison cell. So the thing that I kind of went up to is, if you guys have seen the movie Fight Club, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this entire conversation, so if you don't want to see a spoiler, too bad, you're going to see it. So in Fight Club, it turns out that the guy was Brad Pitt the whole time in the movie. So this is kind of going with that theory where Cloud isn't necessarily hallucinating Sephiroth, but because Cloud was injected with Jenova cells basically they're aware, basically. So what's happening is the Jenova cells are turning Cloud into Sephiroth and basically doing what Sephiroth wants to do. So, and the reason why I thought of that was because of the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie, where that guy, one of the dudes with the white hair, I can't remember his name, but one of the... What's up?
Right. Kazoo?
I think Kazoo. The guy who takes Jenova and then puts it into his chest, and then he turns into Sephiroth just by putting Jenova cells into himself. So Cloud already has Jenova cells. So my whole theory was off of basically going with that as well, where the Jenova cells are able to transform Cloud into Sephiroth, but due to Cloud's conscious, basically fighting it, he goes back to Cloud. Then he goes into Sephiroth. So then Cloud killed the Shinra, the CEO of Shinra, Rufus's father. But the whole thing of killing Arius, you already went into... No, wait. The core Ariat was after Arius' death or before? No, the Ariat was before Arius' death, right? Now I got my timelines mixed up. Fuck. That was my whole theory, basically, where Sephiroth is... Cloud is turning into Sephiroth, and then after a certain point, when Cloud gets himself, he goes into his own head, Tifa helps him find himself, then that whole part stops, finally. Because Cloud finally found himself, and he's able to control his body, his emotions, and he's able to control the Jenova cells and use them to his advantage. That was kind of my whole theory. It's not a huge theory, but I don't know. It was one that I just thought of, so... I mean, do you like that theory, Pleasant Dreams, or do you think it's just retarded?
No, I think it's really cool because, one, I haven't heard it, and also I don't have an exact explanation as to why Sephiroth was able to project himself when he was in the crater the entire time. Now, that much is for sure. Throughout the entire game and 5 years prior, when Cloud threw him into the live stream, he ended up, crystallized in the crater, and he was there from that time all the way up until the very end of the game. My take on it was just he was in there gathering all the power of the live stream and the ancients and everything, and since he already has a shitload of Jenova cells in him. Jenova has the ability to replicate herself, to make herself look like any single thing she wants, really. She's basically a mutant. I forgot. That one X-Men character who can... that girl who can transform into anyone.
Raven or Mystique, whichever...
Mystique.
Yeah, whichever name you go by for her.
That's kind of what Jenova is. So I believe that Sephiroth was just using that power of Jenova. But anyway, this is the question that I've asked you a few times, but I want to get it on stream. Who is the villain of FF7? There is only one villain.
Which my answers to a lot of these was Hojo, Dr. Gast, and the Earth.
Well, what's wrong with Dr. Gast? He was a good guy.
No, he wasn't. Dude was an asshole.
Dr. Gast?
Yeah.
How was he an asshole?
It was with even when Vincent and Lucretia were talking, Dr. Gast was the one who wanted to inject Lucretia with the Jenova cells of Sephiroth when he was still a baby in the womb. And Hojo...
That was Hojo.
Hojo was the father. Gast was the one who did it. And that's why during the game, they constantly are telling Hojo that you'll never amount to Dr. Gast. That's said, I think, 2 or 3 times to Hojo, you'll never amount to Dr. Gast. So Dr. Gast was really the genius of it. He's even the one who was doing the studies on Arius' mother.
Yes, but I don't think that made...
I could be wrong.
He was misguided in his attempts.
Anyway. And I will agree with you on that. I don't think he knew what he was doing because they just wanted to, make a superhuman essentially. But yeah.
Yeah. Well. Anyways. Where goes? Okay. I'll go with my theory. Which there's a lot to it, but basically the entire theme of Final Fantasy VII is like misinformation and swerve. Like if you look at every single individual character, when you first meet them, you're given a little piece of their backstory that isn't true. Like for instance, with Cloud, you hear that he was in Soldier, and you hear all that other shit that wasn't actually true. Like with Sid, for instance, he thinks that Shara fucked him over, and he wasn't ever going to go to space because Shara fucked him over and that thing. But later he learns that she actually saved his life. Red 13, thinks his dad was a coward, and then you learn that his dad was actually the protector of Cosmo Canyon. So, and every character goes to this. So this is one of the reasons why I think the main story is also like this. So, with that said, the one and only villain, no exception, is Jenova. Jenova is...
That's such an obvious answer. That's such an obvious answer. That's your... Alright, go on.
Well, it's true, though. How did you... Well, everyone thinks Sephiroth is a bad guy. Sephiroth's not a bad guy at all. He was under Jenova's control the entire time.
He was a puppet.
Yes, but not just him. Literally every single person in the game, no exception, was a puppet of Jenova. And the game portrays Cloud as a very, very weak character through the majority of it, but he's actually an incredibly strong character because he's one of the few who's actually resistant her control. If you remember back to the very beginning of the game when you blow up that first reactor, she says something like "Don't do it," or
get back.
Something like that.
Yeah, get back. I remember that. Yeah, the whole ringing in his ear, basically telling him to get back, like stop.
Yeah, like every time there was like ringing in his ear, or you see like his soul come out of his body. That was Jenova trying to take control of him, and she did a few times, but he fought it a lot more than the other characters. So anyway, so my evidence for all this is a huge part of the story is hidden in the Icicle Inn videos. If you bother to take a look at those.
When you're watching Dr. Gast and Arius's bomb, those whole things.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
Yeah. Okay. So, I believe, I don't know if it was the first or second video, but she's talking about Jenova when Jenova first appeared. This was 2,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, the calamity in the sky.
Yes. She's talking about how Jenova assimilated herself into the culture, made herself appear to be one of them, and then she spread her virus and started controlling shit. And there you go. So the end of that, they said a few remaining etc. were able to seal Jenova off. They weren't able to kill her, but to seal her off. And then you didn't hear from Jenova at all until 30 years ago, prior to the story. Now this is where you have to do a little connecting the dots. So I don't know. There's somewhere else in the story where it says that Shinra was created 30 years prior to the game starting, and that was also when Jenova was found. So that's just a little subtle thing that indicates that Jenova actually had control over some of the humans, and she's actually the one behind Shinra. Because Shinra, they ended up, as you know, sucking the life energy out of the earth for profits. So I feel like throughout the game, you're presented with Shinra as this evil corporation who's just trying to take advantage of the earth for money, but in reality, it's Jenova trying to weaken the earth so she can destroy it.
Which kind of makes sense also because when you raid Midgar and you parachute in,
yeah,
you're presented with Hojo, who is taking even more and more output out of the planet as soon as Sephiroth's like, hey, or Cloud says, hey, let's go to the crater, let's kill Sephiroth, and they're all like gun ho about it. Before you do that, and this is still on disc 2, you have to go raid Midgar because who's the guy? Reeves? I think it's Reeves. Who's the guy? Who's Kate Sith again? It's Reeves, right? Yeah. Reeves tells them, hey, I need you guys to come back to Midgar. Hojo went fucking crazy. He's draining all of the fucking Mako out of the, or everything from the live stream. We need to fucking stop him. He's sending all of the energy to the northern crater, and he's sending tons and tons, which makes sense with what you're saying because Jenova basically was, because he even said when you go to fight him, I've injected myself with Jenova cells to see how effective they are. So it kind of makes more sense because Hojo didn't really present that he would ever do that, where he would, you know, he was fucking crazy, but he never really presented that he would go that far. So it was a little bit out of character for him to just be like, oh yeah, let me just give you all the fucking energy to Northern Crater. It was a little weird, so it does kind of go well with what you're saying.
Yeah, the reason why he had that inspiration was because he injected himself with a shitload of Jenova cells. And for the most part, this isn't true for all characters, but for the most part, the more Jenova cells you have in you, the more evil or fucked up you're going to be, one or the other, depending on how your body takes it. Here's a question that I wanted to ask because it's something that I just thought of. I thought it was really cool. Did you pick up on who all the Sephiroth clones were? All the people in the black capes who just like disappeared when you talked to them?
Were they the townspeople that burned up? I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why. That was like my first thought to them. I don't even know why. I was just like, kind of made sense, but yeah.
Yeah, that was something that just occurred to me, but I thought it was really cool. Yeah, because you see Hojo after Sephiroth destroys. No, it is after Cloud kills Sephiroth in the Mako reactor. You see Hojo come in and he's like, "Take all these people," and literally from that moment up until almost the beginning of the game, Cloud and Zack are being experimented on. So. That's pretty gnarly, I think, for like the previous 5 years, right before the game starts. Cloud's just like a lab rat.
Yeah, but that does actually make sense because the first time you ever see the clones is when you go back and visit Cloud's hometown.
Yeah.
So yeah, which actually I'm just looking up the Final Fantasy wiki. There's actually people have compiled a list of known Sephiroth clones from the village. That's crazy.
One of them is Cloud's mom, I believe. It has to be.
This wiki doesn't say it, but I do. I wouldn't be surprised, especially due to the responses that they give him always.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, no. Your theory actually does make a lot of sense, but I would have to look it up because after I thought of my theory, I kind of went out there and looked at some other people's theories, and people have some really. I don't want to sound mean, but some people have some really stupid fucking theories out there. There, just some people's theories about how, like, I saw one where each character represents one of the 7 deadly sins, and I was like, that's kind of weird. And I don't know, there's a bunch of really weird theories out there, but yeah, it was really fucking weird. But I am glad that you got to see you got to catch some new things out of your, out of you watching me with for that playthrough. Because there's a lot of shit that I caught that I'd never fucking noticed before. The biggest one. Wait, were you done with your theory? Because I did enjoy it and I do kind of like it.
Well, I have a whole bunch like I have separate theories, but yeah, I keep going.
Okay, well, one of the biggest things that I saw that I really liked was when you go see Lucrecia in the cave and she asks Vincent, oh, is my son Sephiroth still alive? And Vincent tells her, no, he's dead. You're supposed to, and then in the game you leave the cave, fight for 10 battles, then you come back into the cave, then you find Vincent's ultimate weapon, and then you find Vincent's ultimate limit break called Chaos. which Vincent's limit breaks are all like basically Jenova related because he's infected with Jenova and he can't die, and same with Lucretia. And then it kind of hit me that she killed herself, which I'd never fucking noticed that before. Like that was
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
that was so fucking huge because like, and the thing is, it's like that's just like a little side thing that like you don't even have to see. Like even when you go to Nibelheim and you go down to the Shinra mansion and you see the whole cutscene with Cloud and Zack, like again, that's a whole side scene, something that's not even in the main storyline. And it's just weird that they would like put those in places where like, because nobody would ever think to go into that cave, and you can only go on the cave in Disc 2, and you can only go back to Nibelheim in Disc 3. Like, I don't know, it was really weird that they were like hide things like that. But then I guess, but the thing is, like the fact that they hide so many things does kind of show that they did want underlining meanings because I mean, if they wanted you to know the whole story and make it so plain, they wouldn't have made so many hidden things like that and hidden subtext and little subtle hints here and there. Like so, there is all the people that say no, there are no theories. It's stupid. Like there's a reason they have a bunch of hidden shit in the game because there is a hidden underlining story.
oh yeah.
And it's gonna be really
Um,
interesting to see if they keep all that in the HD remake. That'll be fucking awesome if they do, though.
they better. I'm gonna be really pissed if they don't. But I don't know. Like things are really you have to read in between the lines of the text. It's gonna be hard. Um, they're gonna have to get the right voice actors, and they're gonna have to get. I think the voice actors are gonna have to understand the story to a very
Well,
strong degree.
I mean, the game is being made 18 years after its release date, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 18 years. So a bunch of people that were, even 5 years old that potentially played this game when it came out. Like I was only 8 or 9 years old. So a lot of people that grew up playing the game potentially are now old enough to be voice actors. So the chances of them finding voice actors that did grow up playing the game and loving it are actually pretty high due to the fact that they waited so long. But even
Well,
given
I'm not
that,
gonna-
go ahead.
Well, I mean, they have to like understand the story the way Square wants them to understand the story. Because I firmly believe that my theory is correct. But almost everyone I've ever talked to just believes Genova's. Sephiroth is the bad guy. Shinra's the evil company. They hardly ever even mention Jenova at all. Um, I think that's not true.
It is, yeah, no, it's really interesting because you do bring up a good point. Because I don't know, Genova's always in the back of my mind as like the evil person, but it's not something that you really consciously think about. So you do have a good point with that. But the theory does work really well.
There's a whole bunch of little clues at the end that I wanted to talk about that also confirm
Go for it.
My theory. So in the final boss battles, you fight that first Jenova, you beat the shit out of her, and then you face Bizarro Sephiroth. Now,
Yep.
if you look at the way Bizarro Sephiroth is, the way he's
Built.
the way he looks, above his head, above Sephiroth's head, is Genova's head, and there's two little, not arms, but they look almost like puppet strings actually that are dangling over Sephiroth's head, and it just kind of reminded me like she's the one controlling him. And then when you face Safer Sephiroth, you don't see Jenova, but his one wing is the color red and brown, and those are Genova's colors. I felt like that was also symbolic of Jenova is the one giving him wings. She's the one who's allowing him all this power. And then, huge clues as the reason why I think I'm right. So throughout the entire game, pretty much, Cloud is presented as this weak character. Sephiroth is presented as this incredibly strong character. But come the final boss battle, you fuck Sephiroth up so easily that it's no contest. You literally can't lose. And I felt that was really symbolic of Cloud being the strong one and Sephiroth actually just being very weak. All he had was Jenova's Jenova's power running through him. And then when you kill him, two other things that I noticed that that confirm my theory is that one, he has this like when you see the blood come spurt out of his head and shit, and like he's right about to die, like he has this look like, oh shit, yeah, bizarre. Um, he has this look like, oh shit, what the fuck have I done? Right?
Are you talking about
And,
the Omni Slash kill or the?
yes.
Okay.
Omni Slash. Yeah, right when after he gets Omni Slash, he has this look of regret and like, oh my god, like it just hit him. What the fuck just happened? And that's very out of character because throughout the entire game, he's casting the black materia. He's trying to be at the center of this massive explosion. He clearly doesn't give a shit about losing his life because that's what he's trying to do and then create a new one. But then at the very end when he does, he's like, oh shit, he freaks out. And then right after that happens, he bursts into red energy, and red is the color of Jenova. There's a lot of color symbolism in, and there's a whole bunch of green life stream energy surrounding, and then you see the red energy dissipate into the green energy, and I felt that was symbolic of, okay, he's no longer under Jenova's control, and now he got to go back in the live stream and actually be a human, because he is a human. That's something that Sephiroth was having trouble with the entire time. Like he thought Jenova was his mother, and he thought Jenova was an ancient, both of which were lies.
Yep.
Because Lucretia was his mother and Hojo was his father.
Just so crazy.
Yeah, like, insane. I love the way that they did it. Okay, so I went over who's the main bad guy. So who's the main good guy? Because it's not Cloud. As strong as Cloud is throughout the entire game, it's not Cloud.
I'd have to say it's Tifa, because Tifa's the one who brings Cloud back to be able to actually save the world.
Good answer, but it's Aerith. She's the one who cast Holy. She's the one who sacrificed her life. But she knew she was gonna die.
Yeah, but Holy didn't do anything.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't. If you watch the very last cutscene, okay, when they're in the airplane, they just beat Sephiroth. They're watching Holy shoot out, and whatchamacallit, and as soon as they shoot out, as soon as Holy shoots out and goes over Midgar, and you see the comet like going through Holy, right? Red 13 says Holy is actually having the opposite effect, which means that Holy was actually helping the meteor and making it stronger to destroy the planet. The thing that stopped it was the planet's or the live stream, which is actually people's conscience. That's what stopped the comet. It wasn't Holy. Holy was going to help destroy the planet.
Yes and no.
I mean, obviously,
I totally get what you're saying.
But I mean, that's the whole thing. Holy was destroying the Earth. It was helping the Earth get rid of the humans. Because remember what Bugenhagen said. Bugenhagen said that with the weapons released, the Earth is now deciding what to get rid of. And he even told Cloud, like, we could potentially be the ones that the Earth decides to get rid of. Like, we don't have a choice.
Yes. Well, this leads to a whole other question: is do you believe the humans survive or not? I personally think they do. Just excluding just pretend Advent Children doesn't exist, because.
Well, I mean, in the game, it's 500 years later. Advent Children takes place literally just a few years after Sephiroth's death. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if Holy was to wipe out all the humans, they would be wiped out at that moment, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I lost my train of thought. Shit.
Give yourself. All right, just retrace your steps. There's a lot. There's a lot to talk about. So
There is. There is. Okay, so at the very very end, you know, when you see the 500 years later, and you see Red 13 and his tribe run up, and you see Midgar all in
Plants.
disarray and plants grown over it. At the very end, you hear children laughing, and you can hear
Yes.
humans. So that right there signifies humans.
Survived.
Humans survived. And humans weren't the threat to the planet. Like I said, if you go along with my theory, humans weren't the threat to the planet. Genova was the threat to the planet. Genova
Well-
has been the threat to the planet the entire time.
I mean, the only reason the humans weren't knocked out was due to the live stream. That's the only reason, because Holy was helping the comet. It was. I mean, it. Red 13 saw that literally Holy was having the opposite effect of what they all wanted to happen, which Holy was supposed to stop the comet, but instead it was helping the comet.
Well, I think you're misinterpreting that a little bit. Where I mean, when Holy met the comet, yeah, it's two huge opposite materia, like the two big
Black materia
towers
versus
literally
white
on Earth.
materia. Yeah.
Yeah, they're hitting each other. Of course, it's going to cause destruction. That doesn't necessarily mean that Holy wants to end humans or anything. But also, if you notice, the battle takes place right in Midgar. So Holy wouldn't want Midgar to still be there, because the entire reason Midgar is there to begin with is because of Genova.
Yeah.
So
Which is
that's
true.
why
Which is true.
it takes place right there. I don't believe that the Earth wanted to destroy the humans at all. Another theory about this that just occurred to me when I was watching your playthrough. You know, when the weapons are first released, Katara. When the weapons are
Yes, guys, this is Katara. So when the weapons were first released,
they they start attacking basically everything in sight. First Junon, then Midgar, and they're attacking all the humans. I believe the reason why they're attacking humans is not because they think humans are the threat. It's because they needed the Earth knew that meteor is coming. Right, the Earth needed as much possible life stream energy as it could get. So to do that, you have to eliminate life, because when you kill something, you go back in the life stream, right? So I feel like the weapons were released out on the humans so they could have more spirit power once a meteor actually hit. And then you see that later. I mean, it was like you said, the life stream that eventually stopped meteor. But my take on it was the life stream combined with Holy, because Aerith casted, but right when she died, she was casting Holy, actually. That's what
and
she
she
was
got
doing.
she got the cast off. We know that.
Yes, yeah. Because before the Bizarro Sephiroth fight, you see Holy in the background, pulsing out, and it's contained by a red, kind of like coral-like looking.
Which is
substance.
Genova.
It's supposed to be Genova. Yeah.
Yep. And we know that it was also casted because Bugenhagen told them that when Holy is casted successfully, it glows a pale green. Which when you go back into the ancient city where Aerith dies, and you see that waterfall projectile, it takes you back to show you Aerith's death, and then to also show you that Holy was fully casted, which was good. So,
Yeah.
so what you're saying actually does make sense with the weapons. I do like that theory.
Yeah, it makes sense to me because we do say the names correctly. Origami, fuck you. Her name's Aerith because she is the heiress to all the knowledge of the Cetra, of the ancients. So it's a symbolic name. There's a lot of symbolism in the names, like Cloud Strife. That right?
Yep.
There, it's pretty obvious.
Tifa
I
Lockhart.
have to explain that one. Lockhart. I mean, yeah, you said it before. It is inside Tifa's heart and in her mind that is the key to Cloud's sanity and his true self, basically.
Yep.
Because
Never thought of their names
he
before
was-
like that. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
And Barrett. That's a fucking. It's a
What's his
fucking
last
big
name?
black guy name. Shit. What is his last name? Barrett.
Can you Google it? I got a kitty in my.
Barrett Wallace. Barrett Wallace. That's a total like William Wallace.
Wait,
Like,
Barrett Lawless?
Wallace. Wallace.
That's just the Japanese being racist.
Yeah.
That's literally just them being racist.
Yeah. So there's,
Yeah.
there's a few instances. Of
Well, like Red 13, his name is because he. Well, his real name is Nanakai,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then
I-
yeah.
I read someone said Nanakai is an anagram of Anakin, like Anakin Skywalker, but I thought that was retarded. I don't think
When was Star Wars even? Well, Star Wars was in what, the 80s, right?
like late 70s, early 80s, I think.
Yeah, so that would kind of make sense. I mean, they could have had some.
It's possible. It's possible.
No, wait, but didn't they just do a screening of Star Wars in Japan, or I remember some Asian country they just did a screening of it, so I don't know. I do remember reading that on Reddit where they finally did a screening of Star Wars in some Asian culture. I can't remember which one it was right now off the top of my head. But yeah.
Well,
Alright.
no, it's on show. Okay, so anyway, that's why I believe Aerith is the main protagonist, because she casts holy, and Guggenhagen says it himself. He says when a soul who wants to cast holy reaches the life stream, that's when she could cast, or he or she can cast holy, not up until then. So
Yeah, so she needed to die, basically. She needed to sacrifice herself.
yeah, she had to. And this brings me to my other question. Do you believe that Aerith gets resurrected in the end or not?
In the end? No.
Well, at the very end, the last thing you see is Aerith opened her eyes again. That's the last thing you see, right?
Yeah, but I thought that was just a big fuck you.
But before, like right after you kill right when you Omni slash Sephiroth,
You reach out for
you
Aerith's
reach out
hand.
yeah, and then when you come to, you realize it's Tifa's hand. But yeah, well, a lot of people think that she died, and a lot of people think that she did get resurrected. My theory is that that's a player choice type thing. It's an open-ended player choice, like, because in a lot of RPGs, there's aspects where you can control. Even in this RPG, there's aspects you can control, like a North Coral, you can control.
Who you take on a date in the Gold Saucer.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. You do have choice.
Yes. And holy shit, I realized that my my stream stopped recording somewhere.
That's
so
fine.
I don't know.
It's still recording on mine. I can still send it to YouTube. It's not a big deal.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank God. I have no idea how much I lost. I don't know why it stopped recording.
That's all right.
I've never done that before. But anyways, that distracted me. Yeah. Okay. So
Aerith's resurrection,
there's
player
little-
choice.
yeah, there's little things in the game that you can choose, like I said, like the date, and the date. I don't think it's little. I think the date's really big. I think it's meant to be Aerith, and then but if you really do all the right things, it could be Barrett's.
Yep.
I've only gotten Aerith and Tifa. I've never gotten the other one.
The easiest way to do it is you can get the FF7 save editor, and there is a character bar per person, and there is a relationship gauge per person to Cloud, and it gauges from 0 to 255. And all you have to do on whoever you want to take a date to before that occurs, save the game, open up the save editor, set the relationship to 255 for the person you want to date with, and start it up, and you'll be on a date with them.
Oh shit, that's really cool.
Yeah. So there's some cool things that go along with the Steam version, and that it allows you to do. That's pretty cool still. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's really legit. So anyways, just to clarify, you think Aerith is dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you think? What do you think? Resurrected or dead?
I think that's a player choice. I think if
I know. What's
you
your choice?
the first time I played the game, I was a total Tifa person. Like the first 5 or 6 times, I was a total Tifa person. But I'm slowly coming around to Aerith. I don't know why. The older I get, the more closer towards Aerith I get. So I don't know. Like for me personally, it's like 50-50.
I think everybody starts as a Tifa person because of her tits, but
Right.
but yeah,
That's what I saw. I saw her big old titties, and she was his childhood love and everything.
yeah, but I don't know. She ignored him.
I feel like that the hand, her reaching out for him, first Eris reaching out for him, and then Tifa reaching out for him. I felt like that was like some sort of symbolism there, where he had a choice. But in the ending, he says, I think I know where I can meet her." Because basically the promised land, they kind of allude to. They never say what the promised land is, but my take on it was the promised land was just love. It was just like wherever you were like most loved and welcome, like paradise, basically. That's where the promised land was, and that's what it took to destroy Jenova and destroy the Black Meteor was love. So when Cloud said, "I think I know where I have to meet her, or where I can meet her, that if I truly love her, I can bring her back." That's the way I took it. But anyways.
No, it makes sense. All right, so let's just answer one question really quick from Legmog. What sort of plot reasons do you think justify Aerith coming back to life? Do you have a response for that, or just?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when it is, but maybe you can clarify. But I believe Tifa says it. She says, "Aerith talked about the future more than any of us. She genuinely was looking forward to the future, and there's tons of evidence in the first disc of it. Aerith is always the one looking forward to the future. She thinks it's gonna be better. She's like, just leave it to me. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine." She was so optimistic, and she knew she had to die right after Cloud attacked her at the Temple of the Ancients, and then he's in the coma, and she sees him in the sleeping forest when he's in the coma. Right then, I feel like that's when she knew she was going to die, but she was still incredibly happy and optimistic.
Yeah, and she even said, "Just leave it all to me, and I'll take care of everything."
Yes, and I think she even said, "I'll come back to you when it's all over." I'm pretty sure she said that.
No, she does. So, she does have in some phrase she says she'll be back.
Yeah. So that's why I believe that it's at least possible. It's a possible ending for her to come back. But like I said, if Cloud truly loves Tifa, then there's no reason for her to come back, especially since Zack is already in the live stream too.
Yeah.
And you can make an argument that Aerith was only attracted to Cloud because of that, because of his
well, they looked almost identical.
Personalities. Yeah.
They looked identical. They had the same sword because Cloud took it from Zack. Pretty long list of reasons why.
Yeah, tons of reasons.
Yeah.
But then when they go on the date, she says, "I'm looking to find the real you," which indicates that she figured that somewhere along the way she figured out that that Cloud had to have known Zack at some point. Because there's just way too many coincidences. Well, maybe go on.
The way that I was gonna take I'm trying to find the real you, things like that, was whatchamacallit, when going back to your theory of Genova's controlling him, I kind of feel like Aerith was obviously a lot smarter than everybody else because she was an ancient and Cetra were her ancestors. So I kind of feel like she knew Cloud was being controlled, and when she said, "I want to meet the real you," I think she was basically, saying like, "I know this isn't really who you are, and I can't wait to meet who you really, really are." So that's kind of the way I took it after you told your piece about the whole Jenova controlling everybody part.
Yeah, that could totally make sense too. I mean, she's probably referring to both that. I mean, because Cloud was so uh, fucked up, really.
Yeah.
He was so confused that I mean, it was the illusions from Jenova and the illusions from Zack's stories that he told him
Yeah.
mixed together that were both conflicting with him. I mean, it was because of those stories that Jenova was able to manipulate him to begin with. Like it's my thought that if hypothetically there was no Zack in Cloud's life, I don't think Jenova would have even been able to control him at all. I think Jenova and Sephiroth fed upon that I guess that gap in Cloud's memory where he's trying to piece everything together and he just can't. But if he didn't have Zack there to feed the stories while he was completely catatonic, so he was in a very receptive state, obviously. So everything he heard, he ended up regurgitating as his own life story. So I think that had a huge impact on how Jenova went about attacking Cloud, I guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right, man. This is going on for quite a bit. I think you've said a lot of your piece. Do you feel good with how much you said?
Yeah, how about you?
I feel great. I do see the game in a new light, so I really do enjoy it because it's with the game coming up as FF7 Remix. There's also now with the HD remix, and there's going to be voice actors. One thing I'm definitely going to be looking for is if they do tell the voice actors what the original game makers point was for everything, essentially. But the main thing that I hope that they do. I do hope that they tell them, like, okay, so in this game, Genova's controlling you, going off your theory. In this game, Jenova controls you. You have to do this, do that. You're going to talk, and you're going to talk in a very specific way, but then after a certain point in the game, we want you to change your tone of voice a little bit to signify that you're no longer being controlled. You know what I mean? Like, that would be very, very good and very iconic in a way, because I really would hope that it would work like that. So, because that would be great. You know what I mean? Like, to really just tell the voice actors, this is how we need you to talk. This is the point of the game. This is the point of this scene. I really do hope that they go really, really in depth into that, because then people need to listen to inflections of the voice. They need to listen if the person's scared, angry, sad, what have you. And I do think that it's going to be a great game to see if how Square Enix has improved in their voice actors for video games. Because even if they pick some of the voice actors from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, I still think that would be a great pick. Some of them are really fucking good, so I do hope they stick with them. But who knows? They might just do some fresh new people, and it might work out amazing, or not.
Yeah, and
it's kind of scary.
They seem to attach to the understory in Advent Children. That's why I didn't really like it.
Yeah, that's what the thing for me. It was just so aesthetically pleasing to me that I was fine with it, because it was beautiful. Yeah, it was just a gorgeous movie. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed watching it. So I don't know. I did watch it recently. I'm probably gonna watch it again. I'm gonna see if I see any underlining stories in there brought in from the Final Fantasy game or not, and I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
The only thing that I could think of is, I mean, like you said, when I think his name Kazoo, when he puts Jenova into him, he becomes Sephiroth. So that kind of is symbolic of you're fighting Jenova,
the whole
Sephiroth
time.
is just her tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Jenova created those three guys, but she didn't have enough. She wasn't strong enough to recreate Sephiroth, so she created three guys to go get a piece of Jenova back, so that she could come back as Sephiroth to hopefully, destroy the planet.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how I took it.
Yeah, no, it's a good way to take it.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. So I was reading the chat as we were doing this. I didn't see too many questions. I will give you guys just a few moments to think of some questions, I guess. There was one that I will read off from Man O' War 274. Debate the scene when Yuffie says, "Until next time, after you get your materia back, did she actually become good or not? Um,
I don't think she was ever bad.
I
I
don't
don't think
think.
it's a good or bad
Yeah,
question.
I mean, to be honest, materia. It was just. It was just materia. It was just a materialistic possession that they really didn't give a shit about. I mean, they needed materia to help them win, but I don't think her wanting materia was making her really all that bad because her intention was to steal the materia to try to make her homeland, strong again and be able to come back to its really honorable ways that they were versus the resort. So, because Yuffie was really hurt that her hometown just became a huge fucking resort. Like, it was, to her it was a really big deal. So I will agree with Pleasant Dreams. I don't think she was actually ever really that bad.
Yeah, and then they said, what did you say? And then yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. But if he's asking like whether or not she ended up stealing the materia, I could see her doing it again.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
because it's not because like you said, she was so hurt by her hometown that once had so much glory is now just a fucking resort town.
yeah,
And if she figures that like if there is no more threat, if there's no more Sephiroth or Jenova or anything, they don't need materia anymore. Right?
yeah. And I will say, Man of War. I'm asking. She should know that's not the way to redeem her land. You got to remember, Yuffie's 16.
Yeah.
She's a kid, dude. She doesn't know any better. And even when you go to get Yuffie's ultimate weapon or her ultimate limit break, her dad, who's a moron, just straight up. Her dad's even a moron. He tells her like, "Hey, do you think after the war, do you think they'll still need all the materia?" They're both morons. They're not bad. It's just that they want to protect their sacred land. So that's that. There was another there was somebody, Klanos, who legit doesn't know what Kate Sith is or was. Okay, so Kate Sith is literally a mechanical puppet. And they make it so blatantly obvious because on his back you see a giant zipper. Like, it is so fucking obvious that it's just a big puppet slash robot. So what Kate Sith really is Reeves and Midgar, who is the head of I want to say
development, right?
housing development. I want to say housing development was where my mind was going to.
Yeah.
And he joins up with Cloud first to spy on them, but then realizes that what they're doing to save the planet is the only way to save Midgar. And he wants to save all the people, so he joins up with them and does good with them to actually help them out.
Yeah, that's exactly what K-Sith is. He's just a robot controlled by a dude in Shinra, basically.
Yeah. Do you think they will include blood in the FF7 remake during Aerith's death? I fucking hope so.
I don't think they will, though.
I hope so. I hope they make it rated M. No, they have to, because there's Barrett's gonna be swearing, Sid's gonna be swearing, there's gonna be full swearing, so it's gonna be bloody as fuck. It should be, at least.
I don't know if it'd be bloody as fuck. But
I mean, to a point, you know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna tone it down, especially when you can have Barrett saying "son of a bitch," "fuck," "god damn it." Like, he's gonna be swearing a lot. Sid saying "drink your goddamn tea." Like, there's gonna be swearing. Like, and the reason there wasn't blood before is because Polygon blood doesn't really look that great. So yeah.
it really doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, there was another question. Oh, okay. Was it Derek Purvis said, what kind of battle system would you like to see used, and what kind do you think they will use? I think that's a really good question for the remake.
So, if you read some of the interviews with the game developers for FF7, they are redesigning the battle system. So,
They need to.
I'm sorry?
I said, which they need to, I think.
Yeah, they do, because the battle system FF7 makes it one of the easiest games ever. It's a joke. It's so easy to manipulate the battles into a way that goes in your flow. It's so easy to tell what the bosses are going to do next. It's a really, really easy battle system. So them redesigning it to make it more modern should be better. I still think they're going to keep in limit breaks because they were way, way too fucking amazing. That has to stay. The way materia works, I hope changes just a tiny bit. but we'll have to see how much they change about the materia system. But we're gonna have to just wait and see. I mean, some of the more recent Final Fantasy fight systems are very action based. They're not turn based, and I think it'll make it work better with just action based fighting systems, and I don't think it'll take away from the story either. So if they do change it, I really don't see it breaking the game, because the main reason why I liked it was basically because of the storyline. I mean, that's really what made it so great, was the storyline and how deep it was. I mean, the fight systems were just there because you needed to fight in the fucking game. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. If it was just an entire movie, you know, you don't play at all, I would just watch that.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of how one of those. Oh my God, what's the game with Solid Snake?
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. There's one of them where one of the Metal Gears, I think it was like literally 20 hours of whatchamacallit, 20 hours of like cutscene, and then it was like 10 hours of gameplay. So yeah. Bizarro Sephiroth looked like a giant fish again. I mean, everything's gonna get redesigned, which I have Bizarro Sephiroth up on the stream, so that's him. Kind of fishy, kind of.
Yes, I could see how you could think he's like an amphibian or something.
Well, if you look at his hands, like right here. Wait, let me move myself over. Give me 1 sec.
His little fins.
If you look right there, these little finnies right here. These fins that I'm grabbing.
I don't see you move until like a minute.
Yeah, I know. So these fins that I'm grabbing, they do look like fishy fins. So I do kind of agree with them that they do look like a little bit like fishy fish. But then he's got these horns right here, which fishies don't have horns. So I don't know.
But I mean, that's Jenova. That could be.
Well, no, Genova's on top of that, and then
controlling him like a little bitch he is.
Yeah. But yeah, Camille grabbing Sephiroth's ass. Thank you, Klanos. Alright, well that's going to be it for this, guys. This was our Pleasant Dreams first time doing something like this live. So I do want to thank the people that decided to come in. We will be uploading this to that YouTube link that you see right there, youtube.com/user/RNOWIC-I88. We just got to get that.
That's my last name. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got to get that uploaded, and we will have it up there. So yeah, so thank you guys for coming. These are some of our theories. Thank you guys for asking questions. Pleasant Dreams. Would you just like to say goodbye?
Yeah. Later, guys. Thank you very much, Camo, for having me on here, and hopefully we do it again sometime.
Yeah, maybe after FF7 HD remake, we can do some more theories again, or just complain about it for how bad they're gonna fuck it up, anyways. We'll see what happens. All right, thank you guys again for coming by. We'll see you guys later.